it's been a minute since I've recorded this. So after getting permission from your moms, the three of you were ready to head out. It was a short walk to the park. One second, let me extend this out. Ew. There we go. Short walk to the park. Lizzie had convinced your moms that it was so short she could always be allowed to walk there by herself. When you found her, she was hanging on the jungle gym, swinging back and forth. Hey, Lizzie. Her face lit up when she saw you, her big brown eyes going wide. Lynk, Silo. Hi. She dropped to the ground, landed with a soft thud in the sand. In a split second, Silo had abandoned you and scrambled over to stand by her. You were used to being left out when there was just three of you, but now Cope was here. You wondered if he would leave too. Who's that? She is so tan. I am jealous. Guys, I've stayed pale through the summer, and I did go outside quite often. It's Cope. He's new.
Hi.
Okay, welcome to my park. Nobody ever comes to play here, so this is where we get together. She gestured widely with her arms as if to present the area to the newcomer. Without interrupting... thought I had a notification. Sorry. Without interrupting Lizzie's speech, Cope whispered in your ear quite enough that the others wouldn't overhear. I thought kids couldn't own places like parks or hills. Okay, smartass. Whatever. You couldn't help but laugh a tiny bit. While Lizzie continued talking, you took the chance to kick off your shoes and wiggle your toes through the warm sand. I want to go to the beach so bad, but summer's over. Next summer, I'm going to the beach. I'm kidnapping Cass, and we're going to the beach. It's gonna be a plan. If he gets me killed in Phasmophobia one more time, I'm dragging him to the beach, summer or not, and he may drown. I'm kidding. I'm completely kidding. I would never do that. I love Cass way too much. We're like siblings. Everyone always asks us, are you guys like siblings or a couple? And we're like, he's too gay for that. But I think it's funny. But we really do. We have a sibling dynamic that I would not trade for the world. Or nice, huh? In this neighborhood, I'm the one who comes up with the ideas. Oh. I don't like the sister already. Who else will handle the job? Lizzie's the oldest. By a lot.
Yeah.
Whatever. Though, thought so. I'm still the only one in this group with double digits. What about other kids? Other kids? There aren't any. We're the only kids here. Silo's just visiting from another place. Not even tourists really bring their kids here. This is the land of ancients. So be careful that the oldies don't try to steal your youth. For a second, it looked like he might cry again. But something in his eyes shifted and he looked back at Lizzie. What kind of old people? Like moms, dads, or grandparents? Grandparents that don't have kids, they hate kids. Why? We haven't done anything. Only some of them don't like kids. Stop saying stuff like that, you're gonna upset them. Yeah, they're really bad. Only some of them don't like kids. Hoping Lizzie wouldn't take things too far, Cove sniffled, his forehead creasing with worry. Lizzie was staring Cove down. The Cove wasn't even looking at her anymore. He didn't seem to care that she was there. He went into his own head. Silo was the next to speak, completely unaware of the situation. I met Lizzie and Lynk in school. You'll see tons of kids there once summer's over. I don't want to go to a new school. I don't want the summer to end. had much luck striking up a conversation with Cope. Yeah, those two don't get along. I liked summer vacation a lot too. All the building tension in the air suddenly vanished when Lizzie laughed. You don't know why, she just laughed, face crunching up. Well, welcome to Sunset Bird Cove. Take a seat, put up your feet, and get used to it. I hate his sister. Or my sister. Yeah, it's my sister in this game. I hate her. Lizzie is just one of those people I would smack. Like, don't get me wrong, I completely get it. Like, you know, you're here, get used to it. Sorry, bud, like, tough luck. But, like, why do you gotta terrorize it with, like, all the people here hate children? Damn, that sucks. Alright, for the rest of the summer, Cope was always there. You saw him more often than Silo, and on some days, when she was in a bad mood or busy, you even saw him more than Lizzie. He became a staple of your everyday life in the sun, the way the sun and lunch in the beach were. During your first summer together, you really liked Cope. He was a fun person to play with, and he seemed to like playing with you too. Of course, that was only the start of things. Oh, I get to choose a moment? Shopping, grown-up, long day, sandcastle, or fireflies. I love fireflies.
Alright!
Tonight we're gonna catch fireflies. Mac and cheese dinner. Oh, mac and cheese sounds so good. Okay. So, straight up, fireflies was like one of the things I did as a kid in the South. It was so bizarre to me. Like, I had a fascination with fireflies, so I don't recall seeing any when I was up in New York. And so, like, I did, like, a little, like, study on them, like, in elementary school. And I was like, I always wanted to go see a firefly. And, like, at the time, the talk about moving down south was present, and my mom's like, well, they got tons of those in Georgia. And I'm like, really? And I was like so excited. I told everyone I was gonna go see the fireflies, and I was gonna go catch fireflies and play with fireflies. Which I did. I truly did. I stayed inside when it was hot during the day and ran outside to catch fireflies at night. Good core memory. Okay, so coming out on warm nights to dance through the sky. Tonight was particularly balmy to you. I don't know what that means. You knew there were bound to be tons of them around. Oh, there you go. Oh, I didn't read that right, and I skipped through that. Started eating faster. That would be me. Be like, oh yeah, shit, fireflies! Let's see. So, oh, I started choking on mac and cheese. Oh no. Big gulp of water. Water. Oops. That's a good idea, Lizzie. Can we misplace games? He tapped his fork against the table excitedly, face lighting up as he looked at Lizzie. Why is he at the house? Go away. I don't like Silo either. It was unusual for Silo to still be here. Like always, his mom had to bring him over early in the morning before her job started, but normally she would have picked him up by now. She probably called before dinner to let your moms know that she'd be late. You didn't hear why, probably more work things. You thought maybe getting to hang out with Silo for longer is what made Lizzie want to keep running around outside. Staying at home and watching TV was never an option for her with guests over. That's why you're pretty sure she'd get your moms to agree. It's already dark out there. Lizzie gave Mom the best puppy dog eye she could, slowly spooning mac and cheese into her mouth while you waited for their response.
Bear.
Let them go. Nights like this don't happen every day. Your parents exchange looks, then eventually sighed and nodded back. Yes. So long, Lizzie steers you through your arms up into Just make sure you stay on the hill behind our house with all the poppies, okay?
Duh.
That's where most of them are. Idea's been planted in your head. You already can picture all the glowing lights spread out in front of you like fairies from the bedtime stories. All too quickly, it became a race to see who could finish their food first. No choking at the dinner table now. I already broke that rule, sorry. Also, my face is in the way. Let me... wrong thing. Slow. There we go. I'll slide over for a split second. That's right, if someone died, we'd have to cancel the Firefly trip after all. Silo did immediately. Glanced at Lizzie, saw her eating faster than she could. Elizabeth.
Jeez.
No one's gonna die, she's... I could have a second ago. I just started choking. Knock on the door interrupted Mom before she could no doubt scold your sister. I'll get it. Okay, pulling it open without looking to see who it was. You shifted in your seat trying to get a glimpse of the unexpected guest.
Hi.
Good evening, Cove. Okay. Finally, Cove shows up. I've been waiting. Let me slide over a second. Hello. We're just dancing around this today. Cove smiled at your enthusiastic greeting. Didn't matter why he was there. It meant he could join you all in catching fireflies. Then for a few seconds, Cove said nothing. He only stood there and looked up at your mommy with a face almost like he was considering turning around and leaving. My dad told me to drop this off because I guess he borrowed it from you. Cove took a familiar screwdriver out of his large side pocket. Eyes now dropped to the floor. We left ours back home when we moved. Great, thanks.
Thank you.
Why don't you come inside for a bit? Oh, so Lizzie doesn't like Cove? Whatever, I don't like Silo. Get over it. So mad. I don't like Lizzie. Okay. I'll give your dad a call to let you know, or let him know that you got here all right. Eyes remaining on the ground. Hi, Cove. Silo gave Cove a friendly smile while waving, holding up his hand and opening and closing his fingers. Cove nodded in response. Are you gonna come catch fireflies with us? You can see Lizzie eyeing you for mentioning the excursion to an outsider, but she'll get over it. Okay, again, I don't like Lizzie. I don't like her. She is so rude. Just because Cove doesn't fall all over her. Whatever. You hoped Cove would say yes. That way you wouldn't be the odd one out with Lizzie and Silo anymore.
Yeah.
I can do that. I never caught one before. It's too bad he didn't have the chance before now. The fireflies weren't out when he first moved in. There must not have been any... There must have not been anywhere he used to live. Let me try that again, see if my brain makes sense of that. The fireflies weren't out when he first moved in, and there must have not been anywhere he used to live. Okay, that's wrote wrong. I don't mean to get all like grammar police on this, but like that just, we can't go out till after dinner. After she pointed this out, Lizzie walked back to the table and took her seat. There wasn't much left on her plate. Since this was very true, you decided to finish up your own stuff as well. Cove stepped over and eyed what was on the menu for your family's meal. Have you eaten yet? My dad and I ate earlier. What did you have? Eggs. The clipped one-word answer seemed discouraged Silo from asking any more questions. His eyes slowly wandered back to the last scraps of food on his plate. Her phone call with Cove's dad must have ended because your mom came back into the room. Let's see. Your dad said he could stay a little while if you'd like, but he's gonna come back or come get you before it gets much too later. Sure. Oh fun, this will be so nice. As you polished off the meal you hoped it would be too. The three of you all finished eating shortly after and Lizzie led the way outside. Remember, don't stray too far. fine, Mom. God, she is like turning into a teenager, ain't she? Pull myself back over here. Hello. Silo trailed so closely after Lizzie he was nearly stepping on her heels. Cove hesitated at the door. You coming? After a moment he did. Bye, children. The two of you were a good 10 or 15 feet behind Lizzie and Silo. By the time you walked outside, you pushed the door shut behind you, watching their figures get further and further away.
Hurry up!
You're so slow. We don't have all night. You started to run when you heard Lizzie's voice calling you, but paused when you saw Cove still walking at a relaxed pace. I'm gonna walk with him. You fell behind, siding up next to him, matching his stride. He noticed right away. You can go ahead if you want. You smile and shake your head. I don't. After a short while, the two of you reached the hill behind the house. The fireflies were out in full force, floating on the breeze, their gentle glow winking in and out, creating an almost magical effect. Lizzie had already climbed to the top. Silo was spinning in circles somewhere around the middle. Silo took a moment to come over and welcome the both of you to the hill. It's really great out, huh? See how many there are? Yeah. The firefly danced through the air, landing on Cove's sea green head. Why am I choosing for Silo? I guess we'll all giggle. Covering your mouth with a hand, a sound escaped you. Cove looked at you in confusion. Sorry, my stomach just growled. Let me slide back over. Hello. I'm just gonna dance around the whole place here. What? He gestured to his head. He reached up, making the firefly dart away. Cove jumped and then followed after the glow.
Oh.
Oh look, Lizzie has one. That's amazing. Silo ran to the highest point of the hill, making sure not to lose his hat or his backpack along the way. You hummed as the group divided and conquered, shifting your gaze to the dozen of other fireflies sailing around you. The game was on. You had a bandage on your thumb, so you tried to be cautious of that. A bandage on your palm, and you had to be cautious of that. Two bandages on your hand, and you tried to be cautious of that. You were good at not getting cuts or scratches, so you weren't worried about that. What would I have done? I mean, I'm very accident prone, so I would be having cuts all over me. I mean, you guys can hardly see. One second, how do I need to twist my arm? Ugh. There we go. I got a bruise here. It's still kind of raised and agitated. And I got right here. It's not really bruised on my hand anymore, but yeah, I'm prone to bruises, but those were because of medical issues. I'm gonna say I'm good at not getting cuts or scratches, because I wouldn't even care if I did or not. Spotting one close by, you approach it with an assassin-like stealth, crouching down to make yourself seem less of a threat. Slowly dragging one foot in front of the other, you crept up towards it, arms stretched out. You closed your hands around the little glowing orb, careful not to crush it. The firefly landed in your palm, almost docile. You stared down at your prize in delight. Its tiny legs tickled your skin and you giggled at the sensation. Cove kept up with his own target, but when he tried to grab it, his cast waved awkwardly through the air, foiling his efforts to clap his hands around the firefly. Aww. Cove watched it vanish into thin air with a dissatisfied expression on his face. Encouraged him to try again. You'll get the next one. Did you catch one? He nodded. Cove gave up his hunt for the moment, coming closer, peering at the insect still crawling across your palm. You held out your hand. He leaned closer, eyes widening a tad. Widening a tad behind his glasses. Cove remained hypnotized by the little bug as he inched his hand closer to yours. Ultimately, he settled his fingers lightly over the top of the ones you were holding open. It tingled. You stayed very still. The last thing you want to do is accidentally scare the tiny shining treasure off. Or shiny treasure off. Why does his hand look like a grown person's hand? The Firefly, noticing the new connection, crawled up onto Cove's hand. He quietly gasped. It worked. Yeah, you got one. Cove's lips turned up into a slow smile. His eyes shined brighter than the bug. Thanks, Lynk. With a laugh, he gave the palm of your hand a friendly smack, performing an awkward low high five. With a bug in it? With a bug in it? Who just killed a Firefly, my dude? Startled by the extreme movement, the tiny light disappeared before you could even blink. Your Firefly was gone.
Sorry.
You forgave him. That's okay. I couldn't keep it forever.
You're right.
Right, bugs have to stay outside. Let's get another. We can work together. His face broke into a wide grin. We'll get a bunch. With your renewed vigor, you ran out onto the hill. You're not sure how much time passed while you were in the thick of it. All you could focus on was the adventure at hand. No critter was safe from your grasp. At first, you tried to keep a tally of how many you had caught, but once the number grew higher than 10, you had no more fingers left to count with. You were having the time of your life, racing up and down the hill with the crash of the ocean and the sound of everyone's laughter echoing in the background. Lynk, this way. You followed the sound of Cove's voice to the top of the hill, watching as he stretched his arms in front of him, reaching with his fingers and only narrowly missing his target. Cove and you took turns trying to scare the Fireflies in the direction of the other. You showed him some techniques that you had learned, like how to cup your hands correctly. He listened attentively before trying for himself. There was a few times where you almost ran into each other, giggling as you dove to the side at last moment. Luckily, disaster was avoided each time. It was an overall huge success, with both of you catching multiple Fireflies each. Eventually, the Fireflies began to thin out, and your energy started to lapse. You decided it was time to call off the hunt. Cove didn't complain. He breathed in heavy, and his face seemed really flushed. That was fun. A lot of fun. You smiled at him broadly, happy that he enjoyed the activity. Yeah, it was.
Come on!
Get up here, we're gonna have a race. The shouting caught you off guard, and it's been quite a while since you heard Lizzie or Silo. You glanced over to see them both standing on the top of the hill again, Lizzie beckoning you with quick hand gestures. If she was like that, you knew there wasn't much room for disagreement. Up the incline you went. From the corner of your eye, you saw Cove coming as well. He didn't care for Lizzie a lot, so you thought he might be intrigued just by the idea of a race.
Cove.
You can't roll down the hill. You could hurt your arm again. You'll be the referee for the rest of us. As Lizzie pointed this out, Cove froze in place. Oh, it was that kind of race. He frowned down at his cast. This was the second time it got in the way tonight. You'll watch and see who gets to the bottom first. That's important. Got it?
Yes.
That's so stupid. Okay, I mean, his arm's in a cast. It's been in a cast all summer, which you could assume has been multiple weeks. I'm pretty damn sure, or multiple months at least, you know? I'm pretty damn sure that his arm is fine. Like, why? She's just being a bitch. That's it. Lizzie's a bitch. I'll stay with Cove.
Really?
It's okay, I want to watch. You moved beside him on top of the hill, even though Lizzie eyed you and made a face. That's not how races work. We only need one referee. Shrugging your shoulders, you refused to budge, and Lizzie let out a huff before throwing her hands in the air. Fine, I'll be the winner whether you join or not. Yeah, because that's kind of how gravity works. You know, rolling down the hill, whoever has the most mass. Not saying she's that. I'm just saying, you know, she's a big kid compared to all the other kids in the room. Look at the difference between her and Silo. She's a big kid. See, look at this. She's got like a whole foot on Silo. a couple of years, Silo, you gotta be taller than Lizzie. But like, of course you're gonna win. Well, I mean, Silo could have like some straight up muscle. That weighs more than fat, you know. Lizzie moved to lay down. Silo did the same. Cope stood slightly to the side to get a better vantage point. You stood next to him. Countdown. Cope stood up a little straighter, saying, sorry, I had like lipstick like in the corner of my lip, like I can feel it. Cope stood up a little straighter. It seemed like he was taking his newfound referee duties seriously. 3, 2, 1, go. Lizzie and Silo took off, letting gravity do the work, rolling at high speeds towards the bottom of the hill. You and Cope leaned forward to watch them go, eyes peeled for which of the two of them would reach the bottom first. They were both neck and neck until about halfway down, Lizzie started to veer off to the side, giving Silo a huge advantage. She obviously hasn't noticed a thing. As Silo reached the bottom of the hill, he jumped up excitedly, threw his hands in the air. I've won. Almost immediately, he fell back into the grass, still dizzy from his roll down the hill. Lizzie stomped out of the bush that she had ended up in, sputtering angrily, and brushing leaves from the front of her dress. Not bad, you got lucky. Let's do it again and see who wins for real. She's one of those people. If she don't win, it's not a real run. Oh, gross. Kids come in. Kids come in. You snickered, feeling grateful you hadn't been a part of the mini debacle. You caught Cope's eyes and saw that he was doing the same. It had gotten late. It was just beginning to feel a bit chilly as you made your way out of the hills, but the cold in the air hadn't dampened anyone's spirits. That's the perfect time for a fire. Like, it would be nice to have a little campfire or some marshmallows, especially with the Fireflies. I miss my childhood. The four of you walked back home together side by side down your neighborhood street, discussing the evening, with each person trying to prove that they were the one who caught the most Fireflies. You knew that whoever really did catch the most didn't matter much anyway. All that mattered was that you had a good time, which, judging by the smiles on everyone's faces, you did. Oh, I get to go through all these steps. Oh. Okay, come back before it gets dark, alright? Okay, drifted across the street. Oh, I clicked too soon. Cove waited in front of his dad, pushing his green hair back off his face where the breeze was blowing over his glasses. So I've read a chapter too soon. I thought you had to choose one. He looked to be paying only a mild amount of attention. He was being handed a few slips of green paper. It reminded you of when you first met Mr. Holden, although he's probably not paying Cove to be friends with himself. Cove's dad seemed to feel your gaze somehow, or maybe you made a noise because a second later his eyes were on you. He waved you over with a smile. He looked happy to see you, but you still felt a little weird getting caught. You've got to learn how to be more sneaky. You brushed your hands together to free them of sand, then jogged over to join the two, smiling at Cove first, then his dad.
How's it going?
Good to see you again. What excitement are you up today? Taking a walk? I found a pretty cool snail across the road. There's lots of snails around here. After you finished answering the question, Mr. Holden's attention returned to Cove, who was preoccupied with folding the bills that he had into a tiny rectangle. Sounds fun. You know Cove was about to hit the stores by the beach. Why don't you go with him? You gave a ready nod, turning to squint in the direction of the stores, like you could see all the goods they had to offer all the way from where you stood. Oh, is that okay?
Yeah.
I don't mind. Great, I'm sure you guys will have loads of fun. Mr. Holden reached into his pockets and pulled out a leather wallet filled with money. You found it odd since your moms had only ever seemed to have cards in theirs. Here. He leaned in to pass a crisp pen to Cove, giving him a wink and a whisper. Get something for your friend too. Sure. really trying to set up the relationship there. Anyways, the bill in his hand still held out towards the green-haired boy. Take care. Cove accepted the bill after a second and slipped it into his pocket. Then, with one last nod to his dad, he turned and started walking. You followed after him, intrigued by the possibility this outing may bring. Cove strayed towards the gentle tide creeping up the sand, and you fell in place beside him. It was a nice day. The sun was shining, and there weren't many clouds in the sky, though the wind coming off the ocean kept it from being too hot. You took in a deep breath, enjoying the scent of salt and ocean air. When you looked at Cove, he was dragging his feet through the sand a little, slowed down to wait for him. His eyes searched the ground intently. Are you looking for snails? Are you looking for shells? What is it? I'm gonna ask for shells. Cove startled a little at the sound of your voice and mumbled a sort of. If you see any, you can let me know. You can manage that. You dropped your view to the sand, walking carefully so you didn't step on any. You were good at finding shells. You had a ton of them at home and always found new ones whenever you visited the beach. The comforting sound of the waves filled the silence with a pleasant white noise, and you played a little game with yourself as you walked along, getting as close to the water as possible without getting wet. It resulted in you having to run up the sand quickly when a wave rushed in more than a few times, although Cove threw a few glances your way and didn't say a word. What do you want to go to the shops for? A new sand pail. What happened to your old one? Cove narrowed his eyes, seemed to think deeply for a second. Oh, we made him sad. Oops. Hold on, where's my game? Taking a second.
Whoa.
There we go. It disappeared. Really? Cove ducked his head down, placing his fingers behind his back. It didn't seem like he was going to continue, so you nudged his arm. How did that happen? Well, Cove opened his mouth and shut it again, considering. I took it to the beach one day. And when I got home, it wasn't anywhere. So you left it there. Nope, it wasn't at the beach when I went back. Then you lost it. It disappeared. What about you? What do you want to do out here? I like to build sandcastles. Last summer, Lizzie and I built one, and that was as tall as me, and sometimes they have sandcastle building competitions down by the boardwalk. Cool, I bet you could win. You smiled at Cove. Maybe the two of you could build one together one day. Once you reached the shopping area, the noise level grew exponentially. No longer just waves and footsteps, but the chatter of people enjoying the lovely summer day, the call of the birds trying to find bits of food left behind, and lots of salespeople trying to get attention. You sniffed the air as you walked beside Cove. You could still smell the ocean, but there were other scents now too. Pizza, pretzels, hot donuts. Maybe hot dogs and donuts? I don't know. his new pail to his face, examining it thoroughly. Hey, Cove. I really like this keychain. Alright, so Cove looked further down the street where different food carts were lined up. He rested his non-cast arm over his stomach, and just as he did, yours let out a light crawl. You hadn't eaten since breakfast, and after all this wandering around, you definitely were ready for some lunch. I'm ready for some lunch too. Hold on. Like, I'm hungry too. Can I get some of that? Let's get some food, yeah. You two wandered around for a short while looking at all the delicacies that were available. Everything looked delicious as the different smells, both sweet and salty, wafted over to you. Your stomach growled even louder. After passing up hot dogs, snow cones, ice cream, and pizza, you both agreed on pretzels. Cove got something sweet and cinnamony, and you got, let's see, a plain one with cheese, one with sprinkles, one with chocolate. We got the same. That was sweet and cinnamony? What are we getting again? I can't remember. One with chocolate? Oh, pretzels! Oh, okay, yeah, I didn't read. Chocolate does sound good with a pretzel. You licked your lips hungrily as the vendor handed your pretzel over, ready to take a big bite. It had tiny marshmallows on it. It was dripping with chocolate, just how you liked it. Your mom didn't let you eat too much sugar, but this was a special occasion. You found an empty table close enough to the beach that the grit of the sand made terrible noises when he dragged the chairs out to sit down. These balloons are gonna make it hard to eat. Cove placed his bucket on the table as he stared at his still balled up hand that was wrapped around the string. You opened your mouth to agree before an idea hit you. I know. Carefully placing your pretzel somewhere when it gets sandy, you tugged the balloon dolphin out of Cove's hand and tied it into a delicate bow around his wrist. Cove bounced his arm up and down in place, testing the stability of your knot. After watching his balloon jostled around but remained attached, he smiled satisfied. Can you do it for me? Cove struggled somewhat with his cast, restricting his fingers on one hand and the string already tingled around the other. Okay. Got it. The two of you spent a moment admiring your handiwork, and both hands now free, allow easily munching on your pretzels. You bit into the doughy treat, savoring the taste on your tongue. With a smile, you looked out over the ocean. I would have went for pizza for a pretzel, but you know. After a time you finished your pretzel, I'm wondering if the creator of this game is not native English speaking. That or it was just like one of those like quick types and it just flies over. Get that? Completely human thing. Not trying to be hateful, guys. Don't get me wrong, I mess up all the time. I cannot be hateful on that. I don't know, my brain is just like, okay. You were done before Cove. It was boring not having anything to do. You pulled on the string of your balloon, bring it down to your level, then held the dolphin in your hands, manipulating it to make it look like it was jumping through the air. You turned to face towards the beach. It almost looked like a dolphin was swimming in the waves like a real dolphin. A laugh came from your side. You glanced back at Cove. He had left the remaining parts of his pretzel on the wrapper, and he was gripping his dolphin too. Mine's name is Merryweather, Prince of Dolphins. Mine's name is Splash. They star in movies. Mine's name is Cherry. She's actually an alien. Mine's name is Sam. They're just a regular dolphin. We'll go with Splash. Their trainers use fish and treats to help them perform tricks. They're the most famous dolphin in the world. You sighed, wishing you could star in a movie with a real-life dolphin. What's yours? Cove considered this question, placing the balloon against the table, resting his free arm across it, and I'm not gonna struggle with words today, guys. loud pop, the dolphin exploded into ribbons. Oh no! Literally. For a second, all Cove did was gape in shock like you. Then his cheeks puffed up, squinting his eyes, you saw tears start to glisten. I'm gonna offer him my balloon. You could have mine. That was better than letting him cry more. Cove sniffled, glancing up the balloon, then back at you. No, it's yours. I don't want to take it from you. It's okay, really. Cove shook his head. Even though it wasn't your fault, you still felt bad. The offer seemed to lift Cove's spirits, and that was good. The passing of Cove's balloon was the last major event of your adventure. In the end, the two of you headed back late that afternoon. You separated on the beach, and while Cove went straight home with his brand new sand pail in hand, you decided to sit for a while. You watched waves in the sunset, fiddling with your new keychain. Another summer day was drawing to a close. It had been a good one, except for the sad final night. I'm gonna end this episode here. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys!